Okay, let us start our press conference. 20 minutes ago, there was the meeting of the Interdepartmental Commission that was reviewing the composition of the prime and the backup crew of increment 4041. And preliminarily, the composition of these crews was approved, and the crews are currently preparing for their flight here and in Baikonur. So the composition of the prime crew is the following: Maxim Suraev, Soyuz Commander, ISS-40 flight engineer, and ISS-41 commander. Reid, Wiseman, ISS and Soyuz flight engineer, NASA, United States, and Alexander Gerst, Soyuz flight engineer 2 and ISS flight engineer 2, ESA, Germany. Backup crew, Anton Shkaplerov, Soyuz Commander and ISS flight engineer, Samantha, Cristoforetti, ISS and Soyuz flight engineer, and Virts, flight engineer 2 of the Soyuz vehicle and of the ISS. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to ask your questions. Please. Please introduce yourself. Elena Sinevina, Itartas News Agency. First of all, I would like to congratulate you on your upcoming flight, and soon your dream will come true. And I would also like to congratulate you on the upcoming holidays. And I have a traditional question for you. What kind of mascot are you going to have? And besides that, I also have another question. Yesterday, you completed all your comprehensive examinations, and I understand that you got your A+ because of your perfect understanding of each other. And my question is, what language are you going to speak on board the ISS? Thank you. This question is for you. Maxim, here is the microphone. It's right next to you. Well, answering your traditional question, I can answer also traditionally. Since Reid has 2 little daughters, one of the daughters gave his dad this wonderful giraffe as a mascot, and his daughters gave it to him to take to space. Maybe Reid will add a couple of more words about it. I don't know. Yes, here. Let's put him here. And answering the question about the language we are going to speak on board the station, this is also very traditional during our training on board the ISS. We use the English language, which is documented as the official language. And in reality, we are going to speak Branglish, a mixture, something in between Russian and English. Of course, you all understand that we're not native speakers of English and they're not native speakers of Russian. And if they speak bad Russian, I will always be able to understand them. And when I'm trying to use my bad English with my colleagues, they will always understand me because they're native speakers. And if Alex is upset at some point, maybe, I don't know, I think he will use German, but we won't be able to understand the German language. So he has an advantage in this regard, so he can curse in German. Thank you. No, I don't want to add anything. You've said everything. The name is Giraffety. That's it. It wants to sleep, yes. It's sleeping. Okay, let's move on. Next question. Ekaterina Beloglaza, Russian Cosmos magazine. I have a question for Maxim as the commander. Could you please tell us more about the scientific program and the EVA program and plans? So I think that you have 2 EVAs scheduled. So who is going to be there, and what are the tasks of the EVA? First, I want to say that we have 3 EVAs scheduled on the Russian segment. The first 2 will be performed by Alexander Skvortsov and Oleg Artemyev, and when they come back to Earth, and we will welcome Alexander Samokotyaev. Alex will join us during the third EVA in August or in September. So the task of our EVA is resupply, dismantling some equipment, the installation of the scientific experiment that is currently being conducted outside the station. So typical standard tasks of regular EVAs that are performed by crew members. Talking about the scientific experiments, I just showed you the book, so we have a lot of experiments that we are going to run. Maybe we will be able to perform other experiments that are not in the main scientific program. So the program is really big, and it's very typical and usual for the Russian segment, for the US segment, for the European modules. So the main goal of the ISS, I would like to remind it to you, is not to send astronauts there, is not for the astronauts to talk to Earth or take beautiful photographs. That is all secondary. The main objective of the ISS is utilization, is performing scientific experiments for the benefit of the mankind. And what about the US segment? Could you please expand more on that? So this question is for Alexander. I know that you're an expert in volcanoes. Are you going to continue your research from the ISS? Yes, when we all become cosmonauts and astronauts of the ISS, I can say it's not our primary occupation. So we all have different professions. We all had them before. For example, I'm a volcanologist. But of course, we astronauts do research in all areas of science. That will not only be some geophysical research for me. I think I will be also performing biological, physical experiment. And I would like to see the end results. And I hope that these results will be very beneficial for scientists on Earth and for the people on Earth. But of course, when I'm going to look through the window from the ISS, I will be definitely looking at the volcanoes and watching them. That will be absolutely great. Thank you. Next question. Novosti Kosmonavtiki magazine. Alexander Pashkevich. I have a proposal and a question for you. Is it possible to send the presidents of those countries where astronauts are from to send to space for some time and then return them back to Earth? And maybe they will be able to reach agreement after that. So this is a question for all crew members. I think Anton Shkaplerov will be able to answer this question. Yes, thank you. That is a great question. Thank you for this question. And we all know about the current political situation in the world. But you're absolutely right. The idea is great to gather all the presidents together in one place, send them to the ISS, not only because of the difficulties that they will have to face during the space flight, but first of all to see the wonderful Earth that we have. But we would also be able to remind them we can reach an agreement and we should be proud of what we have in the world. Thank you. I would like to hear the US astronauts answering that question. No, I think that Anton answered everything perfectly. Thank you. Okay, next question.
Good morning, Jules Grensaya from the European Space Agency. Congratulations to both crews. I have two questions to Alexander in English. And the first one is, how do you feel now, actually, that the proper training is over and it's going to launch? And the second one is, what was the biggest challenge for you personally in yesterday's simulation?
Thank you, Mr. Gronsier. I think it's easy to describe how I feel if you just look at how we came here, like what it well meant for us to train that long. I mean, 4.5 years ago, I was selected into the core of the European astronaut team of ESA, and that's when I basically started training. So for 4.5 years, basically every day, there was something new that I ever learned, something new that I tried to get into my brain. I was assigned 2.5 years together with Reid and Max, and we trained since then as a team, as a crew, over here in Houston, in Canada, in Japan, and I mean, we traveled a lot, and every day we learned something new. So yesterday was the last day of my training. Yesterday was the finish line of 4.5 years of training. So.
A lot of training.
but no exams anymore. So yeah, I think it's just one word that describes it. It's fantastic. The second question on yesterday's exam, I think it's a general thing of those exams that they're very complex. Like you sit there the whole day, you do a nominal launch on the launcher, on the rocket, and you do a docking to the space station. Afterwards, you do a landing. So you go through all the phases of the flight that you do, and the simulator persons try to inject all the failures that they possibly can throw at you. So it's a very complex thing. You have to take many decisions the whole day, and our commander and Reid did well. I supported them as good as I could. So in the end, even though we had a lot of malfunctions, we landed safely. We had 9.5 Gs that we had to go through, so it wasn't an easy landing. If it was a real one, but we succeeded and we survived, and it's a great feeling.
9.5 units is a lot, and specialists know that 9.5 units is 950 kilograms. Can you imagine that? For example, you weigh 50 kilograms, and can you add 900 more? No, it's a lot. I just wanted to say that it's a lot. Okay, next question.
For NASA TV, for Reid Wiseman, what are you looking forward to the most on your 6-month stay aboard the space station?
I don't think we have enough time for a complete answer on that, but I think really the first thing I'm looking forward to is watching the first sunrise on orbit. And we just got some ballistics data yesterday, and there was the time of the first sunrise when we're in the Soyuz. So I got it written down on my kneeboard so I can remember to look out the window, because we'll be hard at work on our first couple of burns to do our docking. So that's the first thing I'm really looking forward to in the Soyuz once we get up there. And then obviously once we get to the space station, there's 3 of our really good friends up there, 2 Russians and an American, and I think it'll be really amazing to come through that hatch. I'll probably be a little out of sorts floating for the first time, but I know Swanee will help us get through there and get on the press conference. And just seeing those 3 up there when we last saw them a couple months ago here, that'll be a really special moment.
Thank you. Next question.
RTT channel. Actually, I have questions for all of you guys. How to combine your private life and your job as astronauts? I think it's pretty difficult. And how your wives or your girlfriend cope with it?
You begin.
So to me, in principle, when you train that much and that hard for a mission, in the end, actually, there's no difference anymore between private life and work life. I think that's one of the biggest challenges to get apart after the mission again, because I mean, we trained together, we grew friends. I mean, we spent like days in the forest at -20°C without a tent, without a sleeping bag. We had to survive, and that, I mean, you grow together as a crew to be friends, and so in the end, yeah, it's the same. Private life and work life is in a way the same.
By private life, I mean like your relationship with your partner or wife.
Well, I'm in the lucky situation that my partner, she was able to follow me to different training locations a lot. So I saw her actually quite a bit, and that made the things very easy for me. So that is something that made my life much easier. But I think I'll let these guys talk about it.
Just real quick, of course it's difficult. We spend 2.5 years training together, and in that 2.5 years I've been away from my family for nearly 1 year of it. And but it's not all at one time. It's a month in Russia, and then a week or two in Germany or Japan, and then back to the U.S. to see my family. But it's hard on me, and it's hard on them. I have 2 little kids, and every time I come home, you have to kind of reintegrate yourself into the family. So from that perspective, I'm missing out on these 2 great little people, and they're growing up, and I miss part of that. But at the same time, I try to let them see what I'm doing and bring them into the mission a little bit, and they enjoy that. So once they kind of understand what I'm doing, then they actually really enjoy it, and it's kind of been a fun adventure for them. They've gotten to see some parts of the world that they otherwise wouldn't have, and they're coming here tomorrow, so I'm very excited to see them.
What was your daughter's reaction when they found out that you're going to space?
They thought that I would leave. They thought I would leave tomorrow, and this was 2.5 years ago. So the full comprehension is not quite there. But now my older one is 8.5, and she understands. She's really excited about it.
Thank you. Next. First of all, I would like to... Yeah, here it is. Yes, go ahead. I use every minute to spend it with my family. If I have spare time, I definitely spend it with my family. We travel a lot. We go to different countries on business trips and training. And while you're away from your family, you really start appreciating what you have at home. You start appreciating your families. And of course, I try to be with them every spare minute I have. But of course, I cannot do it all the time because my job sends me somewhere far away, but in general, I have my second family here. Look at them. Look at these guys on the right and on the left. And for the next 6 months, I'm going to be with my friends, with my second family on board the ISS. So I can say we're all one big family, because the tasks that we're going to perform and the objectives that we're going to achieve are very hard, and you really have to feel that you have someone you can rely on when you're performing these tasks and objectives. And you have to feel that these people are with you. These people will be with me 24 hours a day. So I absolutely trust them and rely on them. So this is how it is. Thank you. Ekaterina, next question. I found out that Anton got his PhD degree, and I want to ask you, how did you manage to do that while you have such a tight schedule as an astronaut, cosmonaut? Maxim just mentioned it, that we all start our profession long ago in high school and later. And we're studying all the time. We're studying during our training sessions. We're studying in the vehicle. We're studying on board the ISS. We're studying ODFs. So getting a PhD degree was my old dream, and I always postponed this dream because of my previous flight, because of my previous training. So I decided just to find time to squeeze it in my tight schedule. I know that I had very little time for that. It's not necessary to be a cosmonaut to study, to learn something new every day. We all need to study all the time. That's my principle in life. Maxim, you've already mentioned it, but it's really interesting. You've already described the crew members that you're going to fly with, could you please describe each other, sense of humor, what you appreciate most in each other? I think that's very important for a space flight. I'm really afraid to say too many good things about them. No, don't be afraid of that. Because they're flying for the first time. Maybe there are some things that they need to know, some words of encouragement that you need to say before they fly to encourage them. Okay, so this is, I'm not lying, I'm not flattering, but I want to say that I'm very lucky with the crew members I'm going to fly to the station. They are very good professionals, they're very good people. They're very responsible, and they study a lot, they know a lot. They have very good life experience. They're not very old, but believe me, in their 30s, they know so much that it's really impressive. Reid is a military pilot, a Navy pilot, and that's very impressive. I know how difficult his job is, because I'm a pilot myself, and I was participating in different military actions, and I absolutely respect his job. And our training has shown, and our common trips have shown that he has all the necessary qualities that you need to have in space. I can say the same about Alex. He is a great guy. He is a scientist. And he was always there working on the simulator. I can trust them to perform some complicated tasks. Even tasks when you need to make a quick decision, and I'm absolutely sure that I can rely on them, and they're very responsible. I'm proud of my crew. And let's knock on wood. I hope that our friendship will only become stronger with years after the flight. Thank you. No. Don't ask them to describe me, because I don't like being flattered. Okay. Moscow Region Television. Maxim, I have a question for you. May 24th is your birthday. How are you going to celebrate your birthday? Will your family be there with you? Well, of course, I will spend my birthday at Baikonur Cosmodrome before our flight. No, my family will not be there on the 24th. They will be there on the 25th or 26th. Of course, there will be a lot of people around me with whom I will be able to celebrate my birthday, the people I know, the people I like, my friends. So it will be like an extended family celebration. So I'll do it at the Baikonur, like I said, because we will launch in 4 days after my birthday. So yes, I think we will raise a glass of champagne or something. Yeah. So once again, our job wants us to be there and to be absolutely ready for the flight. And my birthday is secondary in this regard. It's my job, it's my duty, and at the same time, I think I will be surrounded by the people I like, the people I trust, and my real friends. I think that's a good thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that there are so many questions already there, and the languages for our press conference are the Russian and English language. And there are some questions in the German language, especially for Alex.
Zwei Fragen für Alexander Gerst, dieselben wie vorhin auf Englisch für ESA. Herr Gerst, wie fühlen Sie sich jetzt, dass das Training, das eigentliche Soyuz-Training vorbei ist? Und was war die größte Herausforderung für Sie gestern in der Simulation?
Ja, vielen Dank für die Frage. Ich würde vorher noch gerne die Frage auf Russisch nochmal beantworten, der anderen да. Еще ответить не совсем дал ваш вопрос. Если у меня было...
The question was, if you have free choice,
Мой выбор был бы...
would you
Этот экипаж...
to pick different people? I would still pick the people I'm flying with in a couple of weeks. That's my answer. Thank you very much, dear friends. I think there is some time left to ask individual questions. This completes our press conference, and the crews will leave for the Star City Museum. They will also see the exhibition there of Yuri Gagarin. After that, they will go to the Red Square, where they will be able to lay flowers according to our tradition. After that, the crews will rest. On May 15th, they will leave for Baikonur, and on the 28th, they will launch for the station. Thank you very much for your questions, and I would like to ask the crew to pose for photographers. Thank you very much, everyone. Like this? Yes. Do you see the sign? Yeah. And traditionally shake your hands. Yes. Thank you. You're welcome.
Дата, это 20 июля, будет ровно 45 лет, как первый землянин вступил на поверхность Луны. Ими были Нил Армстронг и Базз Олдрин.
А что писать? Привет. Жизнь хорошая. Левшик. Прекрасно. Дубля
Да.
Не. Да. А это традиция. Эта традиция была заложена 40 лет назад.
Да. 45 лет.
Садись. Back in the good old days, you know?
Чуть-чуть в полоборота. Молодой человек. Вы в кадре. Плечо.
Back in the 60s, I used to wear a lot smaller. David, one more hoop you guys see. Yeah, I think it's all good. It's just at the end of that solar spin, when you hit this one button, it just turned everything. I mean, you're floating around in space, the only thing that's working is a ventilator to keep you alive.
Левый.
Я был, если бы не космонавт, я бы все время что-то надо было выбирать.
Victory Day.
Да. Там
Just 1 second.
Normally when they blow that whistle, it's because I've done something nice. They're extra nervous. Kill.
Reid Wiseman, NASA astronaut, here at Red Square in the Kremlin, preparing for your launch in just a few weeks from now. Talk about your experience here today and how you're feeling here on this historic occasion just a few weeks before your flight.
Sure. Well, it is a historic day here because tomorrow is a huge holiday in Russia. It's Dien Pobedi, the Victory Day from World War II. So it's just very surreal to be here. Everything's closed off except for our little group, so we kind of have the whole place to ourselves, and it just gives you a little time to reflect and think how amazing it is to be here, to stand at Red Square in Russia right now, preparing for launch. It's just, it's almost calming and relaxing. It's just kind of nice, actually.
How do you think you're going to be spending your next final week here in Russia before you head down to Baikonur?
Oh, that's a great question. Tomorrow my family gets here, and we have got 1 week together just to relax, be together as a family for the last time before I launch, and so for me, it's just going to be family time, 100%.
How can your fans follow you on Twitter or Instagram and other kinds of social media?
Well, follow me on Twitter. That's the best place, at AstroReid, and we'll be doing daily updates.
Good.